I was there for 11 minutes. And then I left. And I did
Shows
not.
how good the panel was.
It was, no. The people there, including my cousin, that were not involved in the panel, it's the panelists, but the crowd were genuinely having a good time. And to the guy's credit, the guy that was running this is his first panel ever. So you have to give him a little bit of a break. And he was doing pretty good. And then after that, so I left that and I got in the next line because I wanted to really get a good seat for the critical analysis of anime, which was let me do my memory thing. The critical analysis of anime was interesting, but it was a guy that just talked about it, and he really didn't. He didn't have too much of a personality about him. It was, but it wasn't bad. It got to talking about some good things, and it was interesting for a while there too for me. I did leave a little early to.
Because he's a schmuck.
Not a schmuck. I'm a time grabber.
No, you just time things badly.
I time things badly and then don't want to spend another day rescheduling everything. And plus, I really wanted. Plus, it was really hard because I had both this critical analysis and the Team 4 Stars 18+ panel in as priority items for me to go to see, and they're in these different buildings. So I had to get across because I left at 10:02. That's how late I stayed. I stayed 10:02 the hour.
Yeah.
And you know how much I wanted to be that Team 4-star panel. I was there. I took the tram across to go fast, and I sprinted across the entire building to get to it because my friend was texting me and told me the line was huge and that it might get just filled up soon. And I literally sprinted across that Kobo Center. I was out of breath. It was horrible. But
it would have been fun to see.
Anyway, yes, but I got there, and 18+ Team 4-star was awesome at first. It was great because I walked in, they were showing a bunch of these just tiny little things. One of them, the best thing I saw was they had a Vegeta thing. He was doing like one of those they had clippings from the Dragon Ball Z, and it had him doing like a dubstep, and then they put him in one of the what the iPhones used to do, iPad with their shadow figure and the string. They put the earbuds in Vegeta and had him doing the same movements in shadow. It was hilarious. But they also had something else with Attack on Titan, which they are doing an abridged series of.
Shingeki no Kyojin.
Mm-hmm. Yep, they're doing a abridged series of it now, and they had the theme of Attack on Titan with over Christopher Walken dancing, and it was something to behold. They actually showed it twice because they were still waiting for people to get in when I was there. They waited a whole half hour before starting just because people were still coming in. And then they started off right. They started off showing Hellsing Ultimate Abridged Episode 4, which was hilarious, fantastic.
Spoilers.
Not spoiling it. I'm just saying, hilarious, fantastic. Period.
I didn't see it. I didn't go to this.
That's because you interrupted me. Shh.
I didn't go to this panel because I interrupted you.
I thought you were going in a different direction. Go with the flow, man. Anyway, and then it got, it was fun, and we had a great time there. And then the questions started. And people lined up from both sides to do questions. They had little mic problems with sound. And the questions, they wanted them purposely to be gross, over the top, ugly, something they couldn't do in their regular panel so they could get it all out of their system. And it got really awkward really fast. And I don't even want to mention what some of the stuff was. I stayed longer than I probably should have, left at 40s at 14 minutes to the end. And because it was pretty much almost over, someone proposed to his girlfriend. So, yay.
More of that awkward stuff, right?
It wasn't awkward. It was really nice, actually. Team 4 saw the whole panel got up to give him a group hug. It was very sweet of them to do. But then it went back to the awkward. I think we saw Takahata 101 humping a Pikachu doll on a dare at one time. It was, yeah, yeah. We had Antfish describe how what docking was.
Okay, just
Yeah,
we get the point.
it was just in detail. Anyway, and then I left and I went to join Brent over back at the Rencon Center for the best anime you haven't seen. Brent, why don't you go ahead and field that one since I've been talking for the last minutes.
Well, I'll get to that. I'm going to go over the rest of my schedule. So after registration, after that long, over 2-hour wait, I was late for the... Well, actually, I wasn't late for the opening ceremony, as I found out, but... Ended up, I just still wasn't going to risk trying to get there in time, and it just wasn't going to work. So, instead, I just went and looked around, hung around, checked people's cosplays out, went to the game room again, and I pretty much had this time off. So, I just wanted to check things out. After that, at 6 p.m., I went to the Your Favorite Video Game Still Sucks panel. This was one that just sounded awesome to me from the schedule. Basically, it was, you go in, you tell them what your favorite video game is, and they will tell you, no matter what the game is, why it sucks. And of course, it's done for fun. I mean, they obviously like games. And they started off introducing themselves and the panel, and they even said that there is one video game they consider to be absolutely perfect. And that if someone names it, they'll get this huge mystery prize. Long story short, no one named it. They decided to keep it a secret for next year, so they could do this again. But the panel was really funny. They were going back and forth between people explaining, well, asking for their favorite video games, basically. I mean, people said all kinds of different games, and, like, for example, I named my favorite video game as The Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion. Great story, great gameplay, great mechanics. Their little thing was, they said, Oblivion sucks because you shouldn't need mods to make a game playable. And if you think about it, the Elder Scrolls and Bethesda games in general are known for having mods, which are used usually to improve gameplay and stuff, but personally, I think the games are really amazing as they are, and they don't need the mods to be playable, but obviously that was just for a joke, and what are you doing?
I am just putting something up there besides our heads for them to get to see. It's been 37 minutes.
Yeah. This is all being split up, so it won't look like 37 minutes to you when you're watching this.
But to us, it's 37 minutes.
Yeah. So after I left that was at the Renaissance Center.
Sorry, go ahead.
I had more free time. I basically scheduled it out so that I had like breaks every now and then, especially when I had to switch buildings. Obviously, unlike him, I knew about the separation of the buildings, so I scheduled accordingly. Which, of course, did mean I had to sacrifice some panels I did want to go to. But I chose to do the ones that were the most interesting to me, or the ones that were most important. So after that, I met up with him at Critical Analysis of Anime, and I just thought it was amazing.
It was pretty good, yeah. It was.
They basically described anime, all the different elements of it, and how it all works together.
It was
They
intricate.
gave examples.
It was detailed.
It was very detailed.
But it was also one of I think I said the guy. He was also he felt kind of awkward at sometimes he was talking.
Well, maybe.
But, I mean, it might just have been. It's very popular for someone to have a speech, to not be able to speak in public very easily. I can't do that very easily. When I'm in front of a camera, I'm good. When I'm in front of friends, I'm good. Just talking, great. Public, I start to stutter.
Yeah.
It's not great.
I'm not good at public speaking either. I can't even really start many conversations with people.
Maybe he just hasn't had much experience either. Maybe it was his first panel. I don't know.
We don't know, but I thought it was really great. He thought it was good.
Yeah.
But after that, again, more free time. And then finally, I met him at Best Anime You Haven't Seen. And this one was just outstanding. It was fantastic. Now, I got there on time. He was a little late. Not a lot, but he got in. And he didn't really miss too much of anything.
No.
Now, where's my thing? I'm going to go over the different animes. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail. But basically the panel was explaining different animes that seem to be unpopular. Not unpopular, but just unheard of. Most people don't know these animes. And they really haven't gotten a big following. A lot of them aren't that long. And, I mean, you don't have to be like One Piece, 600 episodes long to be good.
No.
You can have like a 13-episode series and be outstanding.
And many of the series they showed were only an OVA series in general and didn't even have a second part of it.
Right.
Just had one part. One was, I heard, one was under 30 minutes long. Was a 30-minute long one.
Yeah. So, I'll just go over a few. The first one mentioned, he came in like right as it was being started, basically, was Bartender. And it's not a plot-driven anime. It's basically about characters and the different people that this bartender meets at his job. And it sounds really interesting.
But the thing, then go ahead, keep going. I'm sorry, don't want to interrupt.
It sounds like an anime where you get to see all these different personalities, maybe hear their problems, their real-life things, maybe see how the bartender reacts, and maybe even somewhere in there have some kind of conflict that moves into some sort of plot. I don't know. They didn't really talk too much about it.
Now, they did say, I think, that the bartender can read minds or something like, or detect what's wrong with their mind.
I think it's more that he could, like, read their emotions through their faces and their speech and everything.
And then it does the most awesome thing ever, makes a perfect drink for them to get off their thing.
Right.
To get better.
And they said that the drinks are real drinks, they are intricate, and some of them you wouldn't even be able to figure out how to make.
No, some of them require real skill.
Right.
And I want to see this anime just so I can take a list of all those drinks and try them.
I'm not as big into drinking as he is.
Yeah. It's true.
But, there are multiple others. There was a Gundam one. I've never been into Gundam animes, so this one really didn't interest me. But they showed a clip. It was hilarious, this clip. It's like, this guy was trying to start a Gundam. He's like, if I can get this to work, I'll believe God exists. And then he gets it to work. There's this girl beside him. And
she wakes, and she comes out of consciousness, and he looks at her.
Looks at her, I think he starts shaking her. He's like, and he says her name, I believe in God now. And it's like, everybody
and his pause is right there.
Yeah, everybody just blew up laughing.
Wonderful.
It was great. But again, it's still a Gundam anime, and it just really didn't interest me other than that.
I'm not big on Gundam animes either. I like background political strife. I like a bunch of stuff that Gundam anime have. But it all comes down to the end, usually to just robots fighting.
Yeah.
For the ends of whatever political strife they have, and I'm not into that. I want to see the people fighting.
Right.
I want to see the people on people.
Now, there's also Time of Eve. This one is a little more interesting. It's more of a issue-driven anime. Basically, it's a futuristic world. Robots are there and everything, but they're sort of discriminated against by humans. A racism-type story.
And I was really interested in seeing this. All the robots apparently just have a halo above their head, a little projected one, so you know what they're robots. Because otherwise, you wouldn't be able to tell which are robots and which are human. They're that similar.
Right, it's advanced, like Android.
And yet they're discriminated against very closely to what we saw in the Jim Crow law era, in the early 1900s.
Yeah, like separate restaurants and stuff.
Yeah, they just weren't allowed to pick up certain things. They had and they went even further than the Jim Crow laws, even, and having just propaganda that detailed how robots can never sow life, how they are inanimate objects, and they should be treated as such. And this goes on to talking about a robot who belongs to someone who they follow to this location, and they end up following him in, and it's a bar. A bar that doesn't discriminate against robots, and never was taught to discriminate against robots. And when you get in there, you can't determine which are androids and which aren't. And because all the halo's gone, nothing's there. And so, and I think it'd be a real great lesson in a new advanced type of a racism / prejudice to watch.